Hi, I'm Don Yaeger. The study of greatness is a passion of mine, but empowering greatness in other people is the reason I've traveled all across the country, speaking to audiences and sharing my access to the most defining moments in the lives of true champions. I've learned what makes the great ones great from the mouths of great winners. Sports legends like Pro Football Hall of Famer Walter Payton, tennis superstar Serena Williams, legendary college basketball coach John Wooden, and NBA icon Michael Jordan. The focus of my first keynote speech was on individual high performance. How can we enhance our own capacity to be great and achieve more? But then an executive at Microsoft challenged me to go further, to get into the discussion of what great teams do that others don't. Why can some teams win year in and year out when others cannot? That conversation sent me on a 5-year journey, a mission to find and interview the greatest culture builders and team leaders in sports and business. The result was a best-selling book called Great Teams, 16 Things High-Performing Organizations Do Differently. That book sparked a whole new keynote speech devoted to the number one answer I learned from some of the most brilliant business minds and team architects of all time. Topping the list of why great teams win more consistently than others is that the truly great teams have a collective sense of purpose. They understand their why. They know who they are in service of and why it matters. Then they intentionally connect their team to that why. Out of the countless stories and interviews in this study, the one great team whose story spoke the loudest was that of the United States Olympic men's basketball team. Our players were so extraordinary that most of them didn't require two names, right? They were Michael and Larry and Charles. Though they were more than a collection of great talent, individual talent, they also were an amazing team. They were a great team. See, they had unbelievable leadership, both on the court and off. They were special. But greater than that, they had a why. They went from the infamous dream team to a complete nightmare. And under new leadership and using this habit, they have found their way back to sustained success. By 2002, just a mere 10 years after the Olympics, a collection of great talent went to the World Championships, and our team finished 6th. How do you go from Dream Team to a decade later, 6th in the world? And then how do you find your way back? Right? Coach K had been an assistant on the Dream Team, so he knew what it was like, right? What that atmosphere was like. And what he discovered was that most of our players had lost their connection to their why. That sense of purpose, that desire to show up as a USA basketball program on the international stage that had driven the 1992 team to be so great, that had been so intimidating to the rest of the world, that sense of purpose was gone. Our players were now playing in the games often as a result of shoe contracts and other things, of the commitments that were telling them that there was benefit to them if they played on the USA national team. So Mike Krzyzewski said, who greater to teach our players, these amazing but very rich and sometimes spoiled athletes, what it means to be part of something bigger than themselves than to reconnect our team with the military. So Mike Krzyzewski went back to his roots. He actually, on his way, taking his team to the 2006 World Championships in Japan, he diverted our squad to Korea, where for 3 days they practiced and they played and they interacted with U.S. military, young men and women in the U.S. military who were literally looking across the DMZ from people who had ill intentions for them. In fact, during those World Championships, when our players did something extraordinary, they often turned to the camera and they saluted because they wanted to send a message back to those young men and women who they had spent time with to say, by the way, I remember that you, in fact, are doing something special, and I'm just here right now as a representative of you. But if you asked any one of these players, these great athletes, about the moment that everyone will talk about for many, many years, in which Mike Krzyzewski delivered a feel-it moment, it occurred right before the 2012 games. Just days before our team was to depart for London, Mike Krzyzewski arranged and took them to Arlington National Cemetery. I can't wait to share with you why that visit to Arlington National Cemetery forever shaped the culture of USA basketball and turned it back into a team that could sustain success year after year. Thank you all very, very much. I look forward to bringing that story and more to your stage soon. It's a game-changing message for your company, simply because the culture of any company will develop by design or it will happen by default. The great teams make designing their culture a focal point, and it all begins with a connection to their why. Designing your team culture and understanding your why starts with this keynote speech. Together, we can unlock new levels in your team culture, and in the words of legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden, we can make each day your masterpiece.